As we know, there is a famous teaching that says, one should always ask himself, when will I reach the deeds of my forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? What does that mean? That means that each and every one of us, as Jews, should try our best to be the best person that we can be. After you did that, even if you don't become a big rabbi or a big holy person, Hashem is going to know, according to your level, according to your intelligence, what you tried, and at the end that's enough. But you have to be honest with yourself. So that's why one should not waste his time as much as possible, and that's why we said that we shouldn't sleep during the day. Another thing is about sleeping on Shabbat. It is considered a delight to sleep on Shabbat. No more than 1 to 2 hours. However, we have a common problem that happens on Shabbat and even on weekdays, is that people like to overeat and then they go to sleep. I think also in the European countries, they have it's called a siesta, like they have a big lunch and they go to sleep for 2-3 hours.
What if one wakes up at nets and feels the need to take a nap for a few hours in the middle of the day on Shabbat?
That is related to what we said earlier, that one should go to sleep so he can have enough energy to learn Torah again. But he has to, again, have it in... Oh, okay, I'll answer you. He wakes up at nets, okay? He prayed nets, he comes home. Does he want to have his meal now?
Yeah.
So have his meal, but you just have to wait 2 hours before you go to sleep.
Let's say he takes a nap and then he wants to eat.
Right, but he wants to eat a little bit before his nap?
He's a little kid or something.
So he should only have fruits. Because fruits don't have any fat in them.
Easier for the body to digest.
Yeah, so you could sleep on that, having just fruits. You had a little kiddush, have some fruits, go to sleep. Okay, but generally speaking, what we eat on a meal with bread and meat and all this stuff, to go to sleep after that is very, very dangerous. The Rambam writes, overeating is like a deadly poison to every person, and this is the main reason for all illnesses. The reason young people don't feel like they go at age 20, 30, 40, 50, they're 50, 60, they start having all these, why does all of a sudden the guy has diabetes, he has this, he has that? Why should we even get there? If we follow the Rambam says, you follow my rules, you'll never get sick and you're going to live to a ripe old age. But he does also say that if you didn't start this your whole life, you're not going to have the optimal results. But still, even with that being said, it's better to keep it even though you didn't do it your whole life. There are some things that are not applicable in Rambam, but we're going to just speak about the things that are applicable. So, we said that most illnesses are because of overeating and going to sleep right after eating. Shlomo HaMelech said, "Shomer piv usheno shomer mitzarot nafsho." One who watches his mouth and his tongue will save himself from many sufferings, for sufferings of the soul. So it teaches us two things. One who doesn't eat until he gets too satiated, and someone who guards his tongue from not, he only says things that are necessary, that person's soul will not have any suffering. Now let's talk about how the body works in here. In the second stage of digestion, is accomplished by acids that are running in the body, and by the contraction of the stomach muscles. And it's called peristalsis. And these contractions are designed to cause the food, which has already been partially digested by the mouth, to now be mixed with the stomach secretions. Now, if your stomach is too full, then the body cannot digest. The muscles weaken, and it's like a balloon. If you blow a balloon, and it gets harder and harder to make it big. That's exactly what's happening when we're overeating. Imagine taking a washing machine, filling it up with clothes to the end, and then putting detergent. It's not gonna, first of all, most of the clothes will not be clean because the detergent will not be able to get to everywhere. It's the same thing in the body. You will not be able to have enough acids to digest the food. You're overworking the stomach. and the washing machine is going to break down sooner than it should be because it's being damaged. Same thing with the body. Now, how do we know how to eat? What should we do? Rambam says in Yalkut Yosef, a person should eat until he feels 3/4 full. You have to be able to assess that yourself, and once you do that, don't eat until you feel like super full. There's other rules that we'll learn later about how not to get too full during the meal. One of them is drinking water before you start your meal. There's also a way to do it. One of the transgressions of a person who overeats is you shall not make yourselves detestable. It says it in the Torah. When you stuff yourself like a pig, you get drowsy, you barely can pray, and you get sleepy. The reason you get sleepy is because you're overworking your body, and it's using all the energy not to digest the food because you ate too much, and that's why you get sleepy. And usually, as we said, people like to sleep directly after meals because of that reason. They had all the cholent or whatever, even during the weekdays, whatever it is. Now, we're going to learn about sleeping directly after meals. The Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says, let a person not sleep until 2 hours after eating, so that vapors not rise to the brain and harm him. Have you ever, I don't know, sometimes people go to sleep and they have a headache. Does it ever happen to you guys? That's exactly what he's talking about. That's one of the things that happens. Okay. The gallbladder emulsifies fats. Now, since it's not functioning its best during sleep, then the fats won't be properly digested. And usually the reason we eat is to have energy, right? But since it cannot digest these fats, instead of giving us energy, it's going to just give excess fat to the body. And all systems of the body slow down during sleep, including the digestive system. And it will take longer for the food to digest, and it will damage the body. Also, one more reason is that the saliva glands continue secreting saliva for about 2 hours after a meal. Depending on the type of food, the amount consumed, and the quality of chewing. Since the body can swallow only 10 times an hour while sleeping, napping on one side after a meal may cause extra saliva. Have you ever took a nap right after a meal and you have saliva coming out? That's the reason that it starts dribbling. Because it's supposed to go to the stomach, but you didn't, the body's overworking and it can't go there, so it comes up instead.
Sleeping on the left side is better for digestion?
Well, you shouldn't be sleeping right after the meal. So if you don't sleep right after the meal, you won't have the saliva issue. Okay? As we were asked, what do you do if you want to just, you're very sleepy, you want to take a nap, but you want to eat something, so you could have fruits. But you cannot do that at night. Because there's something else. At night, you cannot, if you have fruits at night, you still have to wait 2 hours. Because the liver, its strongest time of work, the most that it works is during the midnight to 3 a.m. So if you do that, you still have to wait 2 hours because you don't want to damage the liver and you want to let it do its functions. Any questions?
So we shouldn't eat 2 hours before sleeping.
Also, if you want to, even if you eat at night and you just have fruits, you still have to wait 2 hours. Whereas in the morning or afternoon, you could have fruits only and then take a nap.
So it's a good idea to eat dinner a little bit earlier if it's going to cause you to not wait those 2 hours. It's better to eat earlier and then be able to go to sleep at an optimal time.
Yes, and in the winter you should sleep out I should not eat later than 9 p.m.